main people. So, my name is Tim from Escort Monitoring Systems, the factory from Russia, Kazan. We manufacture various sensors for agricultural, for industrial, and automotive applications. We have been doing this for 10 years, and we quite good at it. First of all, I would like to thank Gurtam, whoever is present over here, for such a neat and exceptional event one more time. You guys exceeded all the expectations. We just held our own conference this July, and we know how hard it is to get everything organized, everything on point, and you guys did it again. So thank you very much. And happy birthday, by the way, right? It's 10 years anniversary. Our favorite computer geeks. You made a giant leap in becoming one of the leading companies in the field, and we hold you guys as you know, as an example in many aspects of our business. You know, simple human relationship, quite a respectful, you know, relationship with partners. It's just pleasure to work with you. You know, as much as I can tell. Thank you.
Thank you. That's from our side as well towards you. Thank you.
So about us, we've been making sensors over 10 years, and we keep perfecting the quality. We work with the customers. We still keep the prices on the same level. Having one centralized factory under one roof allows us to keep doing so. Right now, last year we passed, we export to 66 countries in the world, and actually as last data is 68 countries, and out of approximately 200. And we keep digging for new partners every day, so better believe many more coming very soon. First ever Bluetooth fuel level sensor with built-in GPS GLONASS, and the first ever Bluetooth fuel level sensor. So our research and development has these things cooking at any given moment. We have about 10 new projects cooking in research and development. Not all of them will see the markets, but these projects did. And it was a leap of faith for us to develop Bluetooth and start marketing it about a year ago. A lot of people skeptical, a lot of people still skeptical, so, but we keep pushing. We like Bluetooth, we like wireless, we think everything is going to go wireless very, very soon. First in the CIS to make fully autonomous weather station with a narrowband LoRa technology. So we are inventors and we like IoT. We would like to become an experts in that. So we tend to move, in the future, we tend to move from just sensors to the IoT sphere and produce more complex devices. The share in the CIS market is approaching 45%. So at this point, we can hold ourselves as our own benchmark. Allow me to brag a little about this. In-house R&D launches 2 new devices per year. As I said before, there are about 10 devices at any given time, you know, being developed. Not all of them will see the market. Some are just too ambitious. For some of them, the technology is not there, but when the device proves itself economically viable, we launch the production. Once again, we are grateful for you guys to, you know, creating such an eco-friendly community. We glad to stand on expos, you know, do cross promotions, and actually, honestly, being a partners with you guys bring us a lot of leads, you know. So partnering with you guys, we can do more sales. You probably are familiar, some of you guys, with the range of our telematics products. We got the Bluetooth sensors, we got the fuel level sensor. We are the fuel level sensor guys, really. Indicators, RFID systems, temperature sensors. But there is a new division. So we have added a few purely IoT projects. So we got a weather station, Sokol M, which is translated in English as a falcon. And the new one is a Sokol GA, which is an optical gas analyzer. It's a new project, primarily for smart cities, for the places where you need to detect the concentration of the harmful gases in the atmosphere, therefore preserving the nature and reducing the impact on these gases on the human body. The advantages of a so-called gas analyzer is the modular system, so you can choose what set of gases you would like to analyze, be that heavy gases from heavy nitrous gases from the cars, or be that chloride, or be that CO, CO2, anything. So you can customize the modular system. You can get this data on a monitoring platform and get the SMS alerts where there's a, certain harmful gases, exceeding allowed parameters for the production, for the mining, for oil, gas sites, for many cases, applications actually. Sokol M weather station is firstly was invented for agricultural use, as you can see by these sensors, which are soil moisture sensor, leaf moisture sensor, the wireless LoRa transmitter, and a Sokol TV. So this is the module to get the data out on your TV via HDMI. So this is a project which got a lot of interest out of the construction developing companies and the mining sites. One of the few cases on the construction site, very big Moscow developer, Peak Industries, they had a problem with the tower cranes, where they rented the tower cranes, and then the owner of the tower cranes came to them with a huge bill for the spare parts, and he claimed that they've been using the cranes in inappropriate weather conditions. This wind speed was too high, or the rain was there, or the snow was there. So using this device, they were able to prove opposite, giving them the report that it did not happen. So they avoid overpaying for this. There are a few modifications with the ultrasonic heated anemometer for northern conditions, and basically we are getting in Russia, we are getting the special certification to get this device as official measuring instrument. One of the first and very important steps obviously was integrating with Vialon, and the weather station uses Vialon IPS, and using this widget Sensilator, you can get very visual, very user-friendly, and very straightforward weather data to for whatever the needs, whatever your needs could be. Coming back to the BLE technology, it was a leap of faith, really. We met a lot of skepticism, and throughout this year, we cured some baby diseases that were there. So every sensor, every Bluetooth sensor is made with a durability in mind. We know there could be cases of driver sabotage, and if somebody would really get very hard into breaking something, the person will break it, you know. So we got polyamide anti-vandalic case. We got lithium polyamide, lithium chloride battery to last about 7 years. As far as we think, we mathematically calculated for this thing to last 7 years, but so far the pilot series had been out on the vehicles for 3 years, and it works fine. So all the sensors, they pass the quality control, so it could takes the beating on a factory, but once it gets in the real life conditions, like in sub-Saharan deserts, or Saudi Arabia deserts, or perhaps Indian dusty conditions, you know, it in some cases may start misbehaving. So we definitely are trying to, you know, to work with the customers to get the feedback, to see if there are any problems that could be solved. It took us this year. We cured all these baby diseases. Like, there was a case where the compound that was inside had some bubbles in it, and we sold a few 100 pieces to Congo. So once on the vehicle for a long period of time under the sun, the bubbles started expanding and pushed the battery out. So, you know, we tried to solve this problem as fast as possible. You know, we got the new sensors, so we sent them out to the customer. At Escort, we think that loyalty of the customer when it comes to a new territory, or just a new customer, really worth much more, that loyalty, than just a piece of hardware. So we will, if there is any case of defected or misbehaving sensor, we will send you the new one, no problem. Not too many questions asked. As you can see, the absence of wire allows for unrestricted imagination flow. I have this Indian client who would put the whole pile of epoxy putty on a sensor. We have the guys who say it's not enough just to put a tamper evident seal, but they have to drill right through and put the screw right through, so nobody can take it off. But I mean, hey, you're welcome. I mean, you want to do it, please. One of the new things, new developments that we are really proud of, it's finalized integration with GPS tracking devices. Teltonika is very important for us. It was, I mean, as you might remember from a Teltonika presentation, they sell a lot. So obviously, when we have the solution integrated and working with FMB devices, they can do an upsell, and we can get onto the vehicles who some people have already Teltonika trackers installed. Like India has a lot of 920 devices installed. So there you go. You just take a sensor, you put it in a tank, and you have your fuel control over Bluetooth. Also the trackers that I integrated is a QuickLink GV56 series. Also NAV Telecom devices, #1 sold GPS tracker in Russia, and Neomatica, our old good friends. For the GPS trackers that do not have Bluetooth but have RS485 FLS, we have this adapter base that you can see on the top. All this, the sensor and the trackers, they work in advertising mode. That allows to connect 4 BLE devices simultaneously. So imagine the situation where we have a reefer truck with 2 tanks, so we can put 2 sensors in both sides of the vehicle and put 2 Bluetooth temperature sensors in these devices. We can put in a reefer truck to monitor the temperature and illumination to control the door openings, which you do not want to happen too often. One of the major things that we also did, we got our brand new Android app out on the Google Play. With that application, which became much more user-friendly than the one before, you can configure wireless sensors as well as wired, which is a big step for us. You just need an OTG cable for Android phone that you plug in, like small micro USB to the big USB. Then you connect the C200 configurator, and then you can configure wired sensors, and wireless sensors you configure straight over by the Bluetooth. In case, I think in 2 months we are launching Apple Store, but I think we need to, finalize on that one. But Apple Store for whoever has an iPhone, like me, it would be out very, very soon as well. For the cases when you need to use a PC configurator, there is a new product for that as well. USB BLE base, we call it. Basically, it looks like a flash drive. You plug it inside of the USB, and then thanks to advertising mode, you can configure 4 sensors at the same time via PC. The software, the configurator, if anybody had a chance to work with the old one, that one was the first, and it was ugly and it was buggy and it didn't work properly. The new one is brand new, completely. So back end, front end redesigned, new high contrast design for those who are in the field, so they can see, so they can see all the buttons. And this is basically it. We back in Kazan, we like to invent, so we are really looking towards your ideas, and we will bring them back to Kazan. We'll test, we'll invent. Thing is that having everything, as I mentioned before, under one roof, research and development and the factory, and everything is in one place, we are able to create a custom solution. If you have a certain idea, or if you have some kind of project, if you need a new piece of hardware for that, please come to us, talk to us. We'll think about this, we'll discuss it, we'll bring these ideas back to Kazan, we'll test, we'll invent, and we'll create a new piece of hardware for you guys. Thank you very much for your valuable attention.
Thank you a lot, team. Do we have any questions? Please raise your hands.
Anybody had experience with Bluetooth sensors before? Because I heard some skepticism back in the day, but now I hear a lot of people interested in this. So we got some samples, and people would like to bring it back and test it. So I wonder if anybody is changing their opinion to moving from wired sensors to wireless.
Anyone?
No strong opinion about this?
All right, then I have
All right.
I have a question.
Sure.
You mentioned that weather station, right? That works on VLON with VLON IPS, right? So you can obviously use that data in Hectara then. Our new solution for agriculture. Do you know any cases? Maybe I know it was released just recently, but is there any maybe feedback that you know from your customers that already tested it?
That's interesting question, and this is the same question that I have, because obviously, as you mentioned, Hectare is quite a new solution. As far as I know, the protocol that is implemented in the weather station while on IPS. So basically, I would think if the core system while on works together and gets the data from the weather station, theoretically you can use any module, right?
Yeah, you can see this in Hectare as well. But maybe anyone in the audience. Did you use Hectara so far? Okay, Hectara, the VLON application for telematics management in agriculture.
Do you have to write a front end for this, or is it just a back end or front end?
Front end.
It's a complete thing, right? We need to try it. We need to test it. We need to see and then announce it properly. So, but yeah, we'll definitely pay attention to this. So since it was just released, there are some other software which we are not gonna talk about, but.
Okay, then another question that I have, you mentioned that some of oldest Gurtam partners and that even Alexei, I think, or Alexandra were mentioning yesterday that with Gurtam from 2009, they were initially quite skeptical about Escort products. And then can you share the story just a little bit more? And then they changed their mind.
Yeah, we had quite a few. Actually, one, our South African partners and a few guys from Africa, they decided to go for the wireless sensor and try it eventually. And this situation, when the battery expanded and the Bluetooth didn't connect, and then there was some problems with this. I mean, it was a terrible year. We managed to fix it up as much as we could, because unfortunately in this field we have to test on the customers. We don't like it, but then it happens. As I mentioned before, we try to work to keep the loyalty of the customers, because this is a small community. So you mess up once, you mess up twice, and then everybody knows. So, but now it works, and some people, integrators, they love the quick and easy installation. No need to lay the wire through the system. And then if a year ago it was raw product, now we cured all the baby diseases, and now it's much more stable. It's a good product.
You mean Bluetooth sensors,
yes,
right?
Yes, the Bluetooth solutions, yes. Also a few changes to come. The adapter base that we have now converts Bluetooth signal into RS485, but we have an increasing. Some people still use RS232. Some regions really stick to that, and people even ask us, can we transfer Bluetooth to analog? God forgive me, but
they want to get to old days, yeah.
Yeah, everything as much as possible. So in September we are running a new product, which is a receiver base for BLE devices that converts the Bluetooth into RS485, RS232, and analog. So we'd be able to use it with virtually any tracker. And the new PC configurator also is about to be launched in the production, that also has a Bluetooth module right in it. So we avoid using two devices, but one device for configuring all the sensors.
Thank you. And how much time does it normally, or on average, take to develop a new product for you guys?
Ideas are quick. Our research and development, as I mentioned before, sometimes they announce something, and sometimes they bring something that is just shocking. So we need to see if it's economically viable and if it's needed for the society, if people actually need it, if people would like to buy it. After all, we are the factory, so we need to make any money out of what we sell. Generally, it takes about a year to develop a new product into the testing phase. And then it takes about half a year or so approximately to test it, because we have our own integration division, so we have an ability and advantage of installing it on actual vehicles and running it around. Like for the Bluetooth sensors, first pilots we run up north, and then there was the attempt to test the batteries, how they act in a cold. So that was the first thing. And generally, yes, year and a half for the product to become from a drawing to an idea, drawing, production, and then it's out.
And if our partners, okay, we have a question from the audience, right? Can you raise your, yeah. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, team. Thank you for your presentation.
All right.
Mustafa from Ditkhwa High Tech, Morocco. I want to ask you about maintenance. First, is it easy, for example, if sensor is broken, to make maintenance easily? Is there any part that we can change or all the sensor? Then the second question, for calibration. We will repeat the calibration, or it's easy to do if we have to import files or something.
Okay,
Thank
okay. Yeah, that's pretty simple. I know the answers to that. The maintenance, the sensors are designed to be maintenance free. So if there's something, it needs to be opened, you only can break it, really, so the reclamation rate on the wired sensors is very low. So basically, if you call us and tell us, okay, so here's the problem with the Bluetooth sensors, and I'm not receiving a signal, we try to diagnose it. We try to get it, get it done remotely. If it doesn't work, we will ship you the new ones. Basically, the rate of the defected sensors is so low, so we can allow ourselves just to ship you the new ones instead of the ones that are broken. Due to complex procedures of importing and re-importing, we try to avoid this. In case if we meet next time, we'll ask you to bring the sensor, so we can bring it back home and open and see what was wrong. Right, so the reclamation rate is very, very low. The only thing is probably in dirty or like dusty regions, probably you're gonna have to take it out and clean it once in a while. Make sure there's no dust and sand on the bottom of the fuel tank. It varies from case to case, varies from different places. And then the second question, calibration. Obviously, as with all capacity fuel sensors, you need to do the calibration. Full empty for the sensor, just to know how long it became, because you're gonna have to cut it to the depth of the tank, right? So full empty is quite easy. You can do it, as I mentioned before, on a mobile application, or anyhow, on a PC configuration. For the next step, after you install it in the tank, you have to do the tank calibration, which in Russia we mostly use the machines for that. With the pump, discounts the portions of the fuel. I know people do it manually. That's also possible. It increases the time for installation. If we're talking about big tanks, right? So imagine you're gonna have to install in a 40,000 liter tank, or maybe 9,000 liter tank, right? We would ask you to give us the dimensions. For those dimensions, as much information as you could, get. Is it cylindrical? Is it rectangular? Is it oval? Is it some crazy shape? Who knows? Then we will get you a calibration table. The downsides are that the calibration table is going to be based on the data that you have provided. So we've seen big tanks, there are dents, there are some internal structures. It might not be very accurate, but it will be quick and it will be cheap, because otherwise I cannot even imagine myself pouring manual portions in a 40,000 liter tank or something like this. And then again, for the smaller things, I can recommend the machine, the calibration machine. I personally can send you the email with the address and with the name for the guys. We do not make them, but we use their machine, so it's pretty quick and gives you the calibration table straight to your software. If your client buys, let's say 10 brand new Scania trucks, right? So generally you can think that the tanks are going to be approximately the same, enough for you to calibrate on one and then just transfer this calibration to another's. That's how we do for the lines, right? For the assembly lines, right? So did this answer the question? All right, okay.
Thank you very much. It was very, very interesting. Please give a round of applause to Tim. If you have more questions, the stand is over at our expo. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And we have Julia Rocco, the Business Development Director at Galileo Sky, to speak about